And trust me, I had discernment, but child, I was not wise. There were certain things that happen in a relationship, and I will get discernment. I would know exactly what's happening without any physical evidence, any physical proof. And I would just say it as facts. Like, I'll bring it up in a conversation and be like, okay, so I already know XYZ. Because it's like, I feel it. Like, I feel like this is what's happening. And even though that would be what was happening, I would jump the gun and jump to conclusions as to why it was happening, which is different. So, like, I can have discernment to know what's happening, but be completely wrong on the why.
Gotcha.
So in my head, it was like, oh, X, Y, and Z is happening. It must be because of this.
So instead of clarifying it, you're assuming.
I made a lot of assumptions, in which I can look back and be like, yeah, like, while X, Y, and Z was true, while X, Y, and Z was happening, and he was doing X, Y, and Z, he wasn't doing it because he didn't necessarily care about me. It was just that was the best way he knew how to love.
Got it.
And for me, it was just like, oh my goodness, I have a discerning feeling. I know you're hiding X, Y, and Z from me. I know you're doing X, Y, and Z behind my back. I'm hurting, and you must be doing this because you don't even love me like you say you love me. And it's like, no, it's not even that. It's like, yes, like, these things are happening. And it wasn't cheating, by the way. I don't want nobody to, like, have an assumption that what I'm saying was cheating. It's just other things that was happening.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to share because it's not just my story. It is
someone
his
else's
story, too. But just to clear the air, it is not cheating. That did not happen in a relationship. But, yeah, like, I'll be 100% right about that gut feeling I was having, that discerning feeling I was having. It was just I would make up my own narrative, and
Gotcha.
that's not wise. So that is something I learned. Don't do that. I would say just communicate. Like, if you have that discerning feeling, you can communicate with your partner. Hopefully you can communicate with your partner. And if you can't communicate with your partner, that is a sign you are not equally yoked, and maybe you got to separate. And that is ultimately what I learned. So, like, what I honestly learned is that while we really loved each other, there was a lot of healing that needed to happen on both parts.
It wasn't the right time.
And it really just was not the right time. And I don't think we are meant for each other. I think we were meant for that moment.
That season.
To help show each other a mirror of where we were and where we needed to grow. Because it really was from that relationship where the thought of therapy came to my mind.
That's
Again, I still didn't go until like 2 years after this.
But it showed you.
But the thought, it was the first time I thought, I need therapy. It really was. And the thought came around because it was like, at this point, we were broken up, but still trying to figure it out. We were in a very complicated time. And it was one of those things where it's like, I had this discerning feeling, but then I jumped to conclusions on the why as to why that situation is happening. And then I would just go off based on the narrative I painted in my mind. And yeah, of course, that hurt his feelings.
Because you didn't
like,
give him the chance.
Because it's like, I didn't even give him the chance to, like, even talk or, like, explain where he was as to why he was doing what he was doing or moving the way he was moving. And it was in that moment that I saw it, and I was like, no, like...
You learned something about yourself.
I was like, I need therapy, because it's like, I keep jumping off this handle because I'm feeling like somebody's about to leave me, like I'm about to be abandoned again.
Ooh.
Like, I keep feeling like this feeling of, like, you're doing this because you're going to leave. You're doing this because you're about to abandon. Like, and it would be really, really hard to even admit that. So instead of admitting it, I would just go off the handle because it's like now it's reflecting back on me. So it was in that moment I wrote this letter. I never gave him this letter either. But in this letter, I wrote, if you give me one more chance, I'll go to therapy. Because I knew I needed it. But I was only going to go for the wrong reason.
That's what I was about to say.
It was definitely the wrong reasons.
And I'm glad you didn't give it to him.
Because my thing was like, I'll go if you take me back. But that's not why you should do therapy. You should do it for yourself. Which is why it did take me 2 years later. Because by the time 2 years had passed, I realized, like, I don't care who I'm with.
You need to get
I
the
need
clarity
this
for
healing
you.
for me.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like I started to notice a pattern of the people I was dating after him.
Mm-hmm.
And it kept bringing up this same feeling of I'm with people that are not
Emotionally available?
Yes, they weren't.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing that would hurt. It's like I am here, I am present, and I am pushing past everything. Like I'm pushing past like not wanting to get close to people because they're going to abandon me. Like, because the easiest thing for me to do is to hold a wall up and be like, I'm not going to let you in because you're just going to leave. So for me, it's like I was actively working against that by trying to form these relationships and get closer to people. But then I would see that they wouldn't be like emotionally available or really pouring into me. So then it would cause me to then react with these big emotions, and it will come out of what seems like nowhere, but for me, it was
Hurt.
from somewhere. It was from a place of hurt. It was from a place of like, I keep telling you my needs and I keep telling you my wants, and you just do not show up.
Because they weren't the right one either.
They weren't the right one, but it was really in that, like 2 years after that, I was like, no, I need therapy. And I finally did go to therapy in my early 20s.
A win is a win.
Yeah.
So I'm happy you
2
did
years
that.
later, so age 22, I started therapy.
Yeah.
Because I honestly took a deep look and it's like, Alehia, the problem is you. Even though it's like, yes, they are doing things that aren't right and you're reacting to it, your reactions are crazy. You have to take full responsibility to the way you react into it, because now, looking back, if I was in those situations, I'll have the conversation, and if you can't get it together, that's fine.
That's okay. Oh,
girl. That's okay. I know my place. I know my value. I know what I bring to the table. I know who I am as a woman. I can walk away, darling.
I wish I'd done that.
I can walk away. But then it was so hard to walk away because it felt like now if I walk away, instead of just having the piece of you, I have none of you. And for me, I felt like a piece of somebody was better than none of somebody.
And you know what? I've learned that recently in therapy, and that is crazy.
Yeah.
Like, you need, instead of just not wanting just a piece of somebody, I would rather have my whole self. It's more better just to have your whole self, because that's also a form of validation. You feel like that little piece of that somebody is validating you, but why do you settle for a piece? Don't settle.
Do not settle. That's pretty much what we're saying in this whole thing is don't settle.
Don't settle.
But yeah, it took me going to therapy to like really go through those full emotions of like the real impact of not having my father in my life, and what that did to me was just not, it wasn't just like not having my father to guide and mold me. It was that feeling of abandonment and not feeling like enough that always came through with the partners I chose, and choosing people that was just like unavailable. I'm choosing people like my father who was not available.
Girl, I agree.
So it's just like I kept choosing those same type of people and thinking, well, maybe if I can change this person that's unavailable into a person that's available, I showed my worth. See, I have worth.
Yourself.
And it's really not like that. So like the person I am today, I'm going to have the conversation with you. I'm going to have a grace area where it's just like, I know habits, die hard. I'm going to give you a grace area. But if that's something that you just cannot do, or you're not willing to put on the work, beloved, it is okay. I know where I can exit, and I still feel validated and loved within myself.
Amen.
I do not settle.
You can't. Like, you can't. Please, don't settle. It is okay. I would rather you really get clarity, go to therapy.
Yes.
Don't settle for a little piece of validation from somebody. Don't do it, because it's worse in the end. You're gonna continue getting pieces and pieces and pieces and pieces. You get that whole 100%, then they go to 75, then they go to 50, then they go to 25.
Yes, and that's how it starts.
And then they work, and then you tell them, hey, this is not what's right. They're gonna go right back to low 80. Then you're gonna be happy for that 80, and they go what? Drop right back down. Why would you want that?
And it's just a roller coaster of emotions.
So fix yourself first.
Yes, fix yourself, work on yourself, build that self-confidence in yourself. And also another thing that has helped my self-esteem is knowing who I am in God.
Amen.
We are beautiful. We are fearfully and wonderfully made.
Yes.
it's just like when you build your self-esteem and your confidence, like we're made in the image of God.
Come on now.
Of God. I'm made in His image. What?
Anything.
Why would I ever have to settle for that?
Said it.
He sent His Son Jesus to what? Die for my sins. What? Why would I ever have to settle? Why would I ever have to settle? I don't. Therapy in the Bible, y'all. I'll tell you. Therapy in the Bible.
That was the main two. Please, please, please. That's the only thing that's keeping me through.
Honestly. Honestly.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. And I told you, and I was telling you, like, I'm like, and I think you said this in the last episode too. You don't have to be perfect to start, because sometimes I just be like, where do I start? Where do you begin? But honestly, if you just start, I'm telling you, every time you start and you just show up for yourself and you build that relationship with Him, no matter if you don't understand every single thing, you're gonna learn so many things about yourself too. I've learned so many things in a couple of months of just like focusing on myself. I implemented so many things that I just feel much calmer. Even when I go through so much chaos, I just feel that peace of calmness. Like it's like she said, therapy in the Bible, child.
Yes, because child, if only y'all knew my crash out stories.
They're there.
They're bad, y'all. Like they're bad. Like I look back and I was like, dang girl, you were hurt. Ooh. You were hurt. Because what was that?
Everybody just been crashing out. Anybody who's been crashing out, just go to therapy. Please.
Yes.
Journal. Meditate.
Yes.
Pray.
Pour into yourself. Yes. Pour into yourself, because I feel like, honestly, that's what helps. Even with the very last relationship I was in, and that one was hurtful too.
They all got a lesson.
It came with a lesson for sure. But with that, I was living by myself, and I felt like I got like to be alone for like the first time when going through a breakup, and
that shows you a lot too.
It showed me a lot about myself again, about where I was and what I needed to do, and personally, that's where I kind of started going back on these self-love dates and pouring back into myself, because I realized, okay, so in between those relationships I talked about first, and then my very last one, when I started the therapy, because I was in therapy when I got into my very last relationship, and I wanted to like change. So like I honestly in my last relationship didn't crash out. So I didn't. And that was the thing. And I didn't crash out because I was actively in therapy. I was actively doing the work.
Look at that.
But the downside to that was I did like a complete 360. So instead of letting out how I feel, and it wasn't healthy to crash out, so I'm not saying to do that, but what I started to do was I started to like push everything in.
No.
So it was like the complete opposite. So it was just like, okay, crashing out is bad. These are these big emotions. So I would just let everything out in therapy. I'll go to my therapist and I'll talk to my therapist and I'll let it out there. Not crashing out on my therapist, but just talking to my therapist.
But you're suppressing in those emotions.
But yeah, so like a lot of those conversations that I would have, like in that last relationship, I never swore at him. Like I never said a curse word at him at all. Every conversation was this. So even if I'm upset,
that's good
and boiling
but
mad, but the down part of that, what I'm trying to say is that I didn't even allow myself to have a range of emotions.
Yes, I was about to say, you're doing it internally.
It was all internal. So it was just like I felt like a lot of internal
Were you trying to also protect that person from not feeling the pain you were feeling? Because that can happen too.
What I was trying to do was
that's avoiding.
I was trying to grow in the sense of, you know how I said I would jump to conclusions?
Yeah.
So like I would have a lot of discerning feelings, but instead of actually like voicing those feelings, I would be like, you know what, Alehia, maybe you're jumping to a conclusion.
Did you feel like it was just another form of a crash out?
No, because like I wasn't doing anything. I would just like communicate. Like I would communicate how I feel. So I'd be like, hey, so like I'm feeling X, Y, and Z, and it was still like with somebody who was emotionally unavailable. So it's like, I'm feeling X, Y, and Z. I wanted to know how you feel. Like, is anything going on? Is anything wrong? Is something going on as to why you're doing this or why you're feeling this way? What is a way that we can work this out together?
Communicating.
So that would be like how I approach pretty much every conversation. And that would be me at my most upset way. It's just like, I'm talking, but it'll be like, so it's like, before I get on this phone or before we meet up, I'll just be like, let me get this out. I'm not saying I didn't have moments where...
But you were trying to be more calmer about it.
So I'm not saying I wouldn't have moments where, like, he can sense that I have an attitude. Because there will be moments where he can, like, sense, like, okay, something is wrong. But it wouldn't be, like, me at a 10. It would be, like, me just, like, yeah, what? Okay. Like, it would be, like, little snooty things like that. So, like, that would be me at, like, my worst.
Oh, girl.
But...
Well, I'm not going to judge you because...
But that's only because, like, I was, like, really trying to, one, not crash out, two, give somebody the opportunity to grow. So in that relationship, I was trying to be very patient. I was, like...
Patient and understanding, honey.
Because it's, like, I understand what this person has been through. And because of that, they're acting this way because of X, Y, and Z. So I'm going to be patient. And I'm going to be patient. And I'm going to be patient.
But there's so much you can take.
And I'm going to be patient.
I'm sorry.
And I'm going to be patient. And I'm going to be patient. And I'm going to be... but that was the mistake. The mistake was...
Being too patient.
Being too patient. It was like I did a complete 360. So before, I had, like... You had 4 times.
Pat yourself on your back, because let me tell you something.
Yeah. So in the past...
not easy to do.
In the past, you had, like, 3 times, and on that 4th time, I'm crashing out on the 4th. That was old Alehia. That was 20-year-old Alehia. By the time I got to my last relationship, I was just like... Patient, 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 patient. And that's not to say I didn't have times where I was aggravated. I was aggravated and I would talk like, but like, I just don't understand, like this, that, and third. But it wouldn't never go like to a high level where I'm screaming at him and I never cursed him out. Never cursed at him. Like, it was a lot of things that in my last relationship, oh yeah, I cussed.
Let me add
I cussed in the first one.
I'm going to tell you right now, after a while, they know you're being so patient that they abuse that. They take advantage of that.
And that's what I'm saying. And that was the other side.
Because now, when you do it, and it's just like, because trust me, I've been working on that.
Yeah.
So now, even when I do it, I'll be like, I understand. I want to communicate with this too, but it's a no. That boundary, that set is like, wait, you're not even like this. Yes, I am. I've always been like this. I was just too scared to even try to approach you in that way. But, it's like that. They take advantage.
And that's the thing. I lost my boundaries.
There you go.
In that sense of, like, okay, this is like a hard no. I want to be treated with respect. And my main thing, it's not my main thing because there was a lot of wrong done, but the most appropriate wrong that I can mention without going too deep into that relationship was my time. It will be times where we have set dates and at the last moment it'll get canceled. And that would be something that I don't like because as an artist, our time is literally our money. Because when you're an actor, you get pretty much booked for the whole day. So you can't do anything with your day. So if you get booked on set, that is your day. You're on set for like 12 to 14 hours a day. So you really don't have time to do anything else. So if it's like, this is a day and we're saying like, okay, this is the time we're going to make for each other, I am making sure I'm not booking any gigs. I'm not booking anything. And this is how I make my money. This is how I pay my bills. This is my bread and butter. So if I'm taking a day and I'm saying, okay, this day I'm going to make time for you. It's going to be all about us. I'm not booking a job. It's on you. And then you call me 2 hours before to tell me you're canceling?
Don't do that to me.
Oh, I am upset.
You have to pay me for my day.
I am upset because it's like,
you could have told me this a day before.
Like a day before. It's like, because it's like now it's like, what, like.
There's no better to put on the bread.
Yeah, like and it's not just like work for me. Like I love being on set. Like, so this is something I love to do. So it's just like, it's either I'm with you or if I'm with my girls or I'm working on building my career. Like, this is important to me.
But you let boundaries slide.
I let boundaries slide. So it wasn't even like this was like a one-time occasion. This was like something that kept happening where it's just like, you're not making time for me. You're not making effort for me. You're not putting me as a priority in your life. And that hurts. But I didn't crash out real bad in that one. Like, not real bad. I feel like as it got towards the end, it kind of probably tried to start to slip out a little bit.
It started building up, and that you didn't have no space in you to even hold it on.
Yeah, but it wasn't a bad crash out. I think I was just hitting up his phone a lot. which looks crazy because it's just like, if somebody is ignoring you, sweetie, let it go.
That's crazy though. I'll be honest, let you know. Yeah, that was like, wow.
Yeah, it's wild, but it's not like a crash out. Like I'm doing something. It was more like,
you didn't pull up.
I did not pull up.
That's.
I stayed home.
To those of y'all pulling up.
But with that situation, it was a thing where it's just like, I was scared and upset. Scared because unless you have ever lost somebody or know anybody who has gotten harmed from like gun violence or anything like that, it's no more terrifying feeling than going days from not hearing from somebody. So it was like, it was a side of me that's scared, like, I pray he's okay.
Yeah.
Like, I pray he's alive, because it's like, I haven't heard from you. But then it's like,
you're intentionally doing it.
But then it's like, then it's that other side, like, no, you're intentionally doing it.
Yeah.
Like, so it was like, so in the message, it looked crazy. Like, I don't even know what I said, but I know the text message looked crazy because I know I put both inside one text message. Like, how could you do this to me? Like, what are you doing? Like, if you didn't want to be in this relationship, just say that, bro. Like, just say it what it is, and it could be over. But if you're not okay, oh my God, I pray you're okay, because if something happened to you, just text me back. I just want to know. I just want to know if
you're
okay.
Double texting. You're triple texting.
At that point, I think at that particular point, I was at home with my mom. I eventually then moved out later. That relationship was like long, whatever. Anyway, so at this point of this part of the end, there's different endings. At this part of this particular time of the end, I was at home at my mom, and my mom was seeing this. So she texted him.
Oh.
She texted him, and she was
don't let mama do it.
She was just like, hey, like, I just want to know that, like, you're okay, because, like, Alehia, she's kind of, like, worried. She don't know if, like, you're okay. She's over here. Like, she just wanted to know if he was okay, because that was something I also brought to my mom. I was like, Mom, I don't know if he's intentionally doing this, or if he's okay, or if he's hurt, because she...
Did he answer to mom?
He did answer to my mom. And he did tell her he was okay. My mom did what a good mom does, and she did not tell me she texted him until he texted me first.
Got it.
So she gave him the opportunity to make it right first, and then she said, yes, I did text him, and he said he's okay. I said, so if he's okay, then why is he texting me?
Yeah.
But it really was very much that feeling of, like, I don't know if he's dead or alive. Because, again, growing up in the hood, you see a lot of things. You see people here one day, and then the next day they are literally gunned down in the street, and you don't have them no more. So, like, for me, that was my trauma showing up in that way, where it's just like, okay, he's either not answering me.
You have all these scenarios.
Or he's hurt. It's one or the other. He just wasn't answering me. He was okay. I mean, he eventually answered me, and of course, like a dummy, I stayed. I didn't break up with him. I didn't break up with him.
I know.
And then, like, it's one of those things where it got better. Again, like you said, build it up back to, and then, drop it.
So glad we owe them.
Yes, definitely was breadcrumbing me along. But, yeah, it was, therapy helped me to be patient. But then I saw, like, okay, being patient doesn't mean be abused.
Repeat.
Being patient does not mean be abused, okay? You can be patient in the sense of, like, okay, you know somebody is working on themselves. Well, I'm sorry. You can be patient in the sense, yes. Patience now for me is if I see somebody is actively working on themselves.
Okay.
In this situation, he wasn't actively working on himself. So for me, I was being patient as in, like, I know everything this man has been through. So, of course, he's going to act like that, which is true. Somebody is going to act this way if they've been through X, Y, and Z. Okay. However, it does not mean I need to subject myself to that. What I would do if I was me now, talking to me then, I would tell me then, hey, sweetie pie, you can walk away.
You sure
Love
can.
is also walking away.
Ooh. you need to love yourself a little bit bigger right now.
Yeah, love is also walking away. You can tell him, hey, sweetie, like, I know you're going through X, Y, and Z, and I know you've been through X, Y, and Z, and I want you to know I love you, but you need to work that out between you, God, and a therapist. I'm out.
You don't have to trauma bond.
I'm not going to do
Don't,
this with you.
oh, girl.
I'm not going to do this with you, sweetie. But for me now, being patient is when God does bless me to get into a relationship again, that and my future partner, my future spouse, my husband, if he ever has been through anything, being patient means that I see this man for where he's been, where he's at, and where he's going, and he's a man that is grinding and working on himself, not just for financial gain, but for spiritual, mental gain as well.
Amen.
So if I see a man and he's actually going out and he's actively working on himself, he's reading books, he's going to therapy, he's in his Bible, he's in his word, he's on his knees praying. Oh, honey. honey. honey.
So don't settle. You don't have
settle.
to be, be understanding, but, like, at that point, yeah, like you said, please don't.
Please don't. Yeah. So, like, as you can see, I was on two different extremes. I was on a crash out extreme, and I was on a very, very lose all boundaries, patient extreme, where I should have been was just in the middle, seeing them for where they were, and then just saying, like, oh, okay, I see that, but it's either we improve and we make those adjustments and no changes. So, like, I did like the way I talked to my last one, where I would say, like, so I'm noticing A, B, and C. How are you doing? Are you okay? Like, what's going on? Is there things that we can work on together? Am I doing something that's causing this reaction? Let's talk about this. Okay, let's come up with a game plan. Let's work on this. Okay,
because it's not just you continue pinpointing it to that
No,
person. You're also reflecting on yourself. Like, hey, is there something that I could be working on? What can we do?
We do it together, and then we come up with a game plan, and then we have that conversation. Like, okay, so per this day, we both agree that I will work on this, you will work on that, so together
it will work.
We can have a smoother relationship. And then from that game plan, I need to see improvement. And both of us, and me and with you, like, we both had to have improvement. We both had to hold ourselves accountable and grow together and learn from that experience, so we don't cause each other more hurt. And once we do that, then continue the relationship. But if it's not getting better, and I'm putting in the work and I'm keeping my end of the deal, in which I will say I will work on it, but you're not keeping your end of the deal, that's when I have to let you go and say, sweetie, we had this conversation. I am actively working on these things, but I'm noticing you're not. Is this something you feel like you can do? Do you feel like this is too much? If it is too much, that is okay. That is between you, God, and the therapist, babes. I love you so much, but I'm not going to, like, let this relationship get into a place where we are hurting each other. So I'm going to respectfully let you go. I'm going to respectfully let you grow and heal. And maybe if God wants us to be back together, we shall be back. But right now, we're not going to cause any more damage to each other. I love you, sweetie P, but I'm going.
Peace.
I'm going.
That's done.
That is it.
I'm learning all that now, girl, because them young times.
Young times, honey.
Oh my gosh.
I know we don't look like it, but these are experiences.
Did we say our age
We
yet?
never did.
We never did. Let's keep it that way. Let me just tell you right now. Entering a new era, I'm so happy for our 20s.
Yes.
Because even though we're like, oh no, we're getting old, I'm so happy. Like you said, we're not repeating those moments.
We're not repeating those moments.
And it's never too late. Like, whether you did your dating scene or not, pull yourself together. It is never too late to pull yourself together. Please. Please stay together.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. So I feel like I learned a lot from you.
I learned a lot from you, babe. Like, the communication not crashing out, because I'm one of those people where I hate to make you feel like how you made me feel, and I know I could get real disrespectful with my words. So if I'm arguing, I don't even say nada, but I'm gonna let it build up. And I feel like there's gonna be a period of time where that crash out is gonna be big and it's gonna be bad, and so I try not to do that. You know what I mean? But I'm gonna let you get it. I learned from you to just not keep it in internally, but speak up, because I don't like confrontation. So
Me either.
Speak up. It's only going to help you in the long run. It's going to keep you safe in the long run, and to keep your boundaries.
Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, to all my exes, shout out. Nah, like, honestly, I'm at a place where it really is just love.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's love and memories. Like, I could talk about this. It doesn't hurt at all. I'm not upset at all. I'm not angry. It's more like I'm very grateful for my exes because I wouldn't be the woman I am today.
Amen.
Again, with all of those situations, it really was a reflection of where I was at that time. And as you can see, like, boundaries was non-existent. So, like, how can somebody respect me if I'm not even respecting myself?
Come on.
So, again, that's what I'm saying. Like, it really wasn't, like, everything on my exes. Like, nah, I had a lot to work on. I really did. Yeah, so on both sides, on both extremes, it was like I was still in the wrong, like, because there were definitely other choices. But I don't beat myself up on it because now I learned those lessons, and now I can sit here and tell you guys, like, these are my experiences, and this is where I am now, and I don't accept it. And I want to even say, like, even with dating, like, since my ex and dating and just dating really good guys, sometimes even with good guys, it's just like, I think that's like that's the bigger test. It's easier to walk away from somebody that you know is bad, but when you have somebody that's good,
you don't want to.
You don't want to
jeopardize that relationship.
No, not even that. Like, when you have somebody that's good, sometimes they can be a good guy, but they're not the right guy for you. And your mind can play a trick. Like, well, this guy is really good, but even though he's not the right one, maybe I should hold on.
Settle in again.
Yeah, maybe I should hold on and stay, because what if there's not another good guy out there? See, your mind will play those tricks. But I thank God that when I was in that situation, I still left. I still left, and I didn't have a mind. Like, I had an abundance mind. Like, there are more good people out there. And not just there's more good people out there, there is the right one out there. So even with the guy that I was dating, that was a really, really good guy. After I did my healing, after that last relationship, after I got to pretty much how I speak and talk now, and I started dating good people, letting it go was still not easy, because it was just like, dang, this is a good guy. I really liked him. Sorry, bye. Well, I didn't say it like that, but in my mind, I had to tell myself, like, well, sorry, Alehia, but you gotta go, because God is telling you. And you're seeing, even though this is a good guy, he's not the right one. You're not equally yoked. The way you see your lifestyle being, and the way, pretty much it always boils down to, like, the way you see yourself living. And lifestyle doesn't just mean money. It can just mean, like, how do you want to celebrate holidays and things like that.
How do you carry yourself?
How do you want to raise kids? Things like that. That's all into, like, lifestyle. And we just view lifestyle a little bit different. And I was just like, yeah, no, like, we're different.
This is
like, we're different. And it, like, we both agree, like, yeah, like, we just view, like, certain things just a bit differently, and on both ends we both felt like, oh dang, like, you're a really good person. It's like, yeah, you are a really good person too. But that's
just
another,
not for each other.
But that's also what I wanted to share with you too, is not just knowing boundaries and when to let go of the wrong people. It's also like when to let go of, like, good people that's just not the right fit for you. That's just not that's just not your person. You're not equally yoked. And I know when God brings me my person that I'm equally yoked in, I'm going to be like, thank God.
Because you worked for that, you know?
I'm going to be like, period. I'm glad I left.
I love it. I do.
But I hope that you liked hanging out with us. I know these 2 parts were longer than our usual videos, but I hope that you stuck around, that you learned something from it.
I hope so too.
Yeah, so we'll see you in our next video.
Bye.
Bye. Oh.